You had better wait here, said the wizard to the dwarfs, and when I call or whistle, begin to come after me. You will see the way I go, but only in pairs. Mind, about 5 minutes between each pair of you. Bomber is fattest and will do for two. He had better come along and last. Come on, Mr. Baggins, there is a gate somewhere around this way. And with that he went along the hedge, tarting frightened hobbit was him. They soon came to a wooden gate, high and broad, beyond which they could see gardens of a cluster of low wood buildings, some thatched and made of unshaped logs, barns, stables, sheds, and a long row wooden house. Inside on the southward side of the great hedge were rows and rows of hives with bell-shaped tops made of straw. The noise of the giant bees flying to and fro and crawling in and out filled the air. The wizard and the hobbit pushed open the heavy creaking gate and went down a wide track towards the house. Some horses, very sleek and well-groomed, trotted up across the grass, and looked at them intentionally with very intelligible faces. Then off they galloped to the buildings. They have gone to tell him of the arrival of strangers, said Gandalf. Soon they reached a courtyard, three walls of which were formed by the wooden house, and its two long wings. In the middle there were lying is a great oak trunk with many lopped thick black beard and hair, and great bare arms and legs with his knees, and was leaning on a large axe. The horses were standing by him with their noses on his shoulder. Here they are, he said to the horses. They don't look dangerous. You can be off. He laughed a great rolling laugh, put down his axe, and came forward. Who are you, and what do you want? He asked gruffly. Standing in front of them and towering tall above Gandalf, as Bilbo he could see easily have trotted through his legs without ducking his head to miss the fringe of the old man's brown tunic. I am Gandalf, said the wizard. Never heard of him, growled the man. And what's this little fellow? He said, stooping down to throw at the hobbit with his bushy black eyebrows. That is Mr. Baggins, a hobbit of good family and unimpeachable reputation, said Gandalf. Bilbo bowed. He had no hat to take off, and was painfully conscious of his many missing buttons. I am a wizard, continued Gandalf. I have heard of many good cousins. I have heard of you, I've heard of you. If you have not heard of me, but perhaps you have heard of my good cousin Radagast, who lives near the southern borders of Mirkwood. Yes, not a bad fellow as wizards go. I believe I used to see him now and again, and said Baron. Well, now I knew who you are, or who you say you are. What do you want? To tell you the truth, we have lost our luggage and nearly lost our way, and are rather in need of help, or at least advice. I may say we have rather a bad time with goblins in the mountains. Goblins, said the big man less gruffly. Oh, so you have been trouble with them, have you? What did you go near them for? We did not mean to. They surprised us at night in a pass which we had to cross, we were coming out of the lands over west into these countries. It's a long tale. Then you have better come inside and tell me some of it. If it won't take all day, said the man, leading the way through. A dark door was opened out of the courtyard and went to the house fireplace in the middle. Though it was a summer, there was a fireplace in the middle. Though it was summer, there was a wood fire burning, and smoke was rising to the blackened rafters in search of the way out through an opening in the roof. They passed through this dim hole, lit only by the fire and the hole above it, and came through another smaller door into a sort of barren land propped on wooden ports, made of single trucks and faced frost, and was still warm and filled with light of the westering sun, which slanted into it and fell golden on the garden full of flowers that came right up to the steps. Hey, that they sat on wooden benches while Gandalf began his tale, and Bilbo swung his dangling legs and looked at the flowers in the garden, wondering what their names could be, as he had never seen half of them. I was coming over the mountains with a friend or two, said the wizard. Or two? I can only see one, and a little one said Baron. Well, to tell you the truth, I did not like to bother you with a lot of us. Until I found out if you are busy, I would give a call, so if I may. Go on, call away. So Gandalf gave a short, long, shrill whistle, and presently Thory and Dory came round the house by the garden path and stood bowing low before them. One or three you mean, I see, said Baron. But these aren't hobbits, they are dwarves. Thorin Oakenshield, at your service. Dory, at your service, said the two dwarves, bowing again. I don't need your service, thank you, said Baron, but I expect you need mine. I am not over fond of dwarves, but it is true if you are Thorin, son of Tharin, or son of Thror, I believe, that your companion is respectable, and that your enemies of goblins and are not up to any mischief, in my lands. What are you going to, by the way? They are beyond on their way to visit, lands of their fathers, away east beyond Mirkwood, put in Gandalf, and it is entirely an accident that we are in your lands at all. We were crossing by the high pass that should have brought us to the road that lines to the south of your country. When we are attacked by the eagle goblins, as I was about to tell you, go on telling them, said Baron, who was never very polite. There was a terrible storm, where the stone giants were out hurling rocks, and at the head of the pass we took refuge in a cave. The hobbit and I and several of our companions